guys, welcome back to The Bright Side. Macy here, the Bright Side Girl, and today we're going to be doing some dark academia recommendations. I wanted to put this video up before Not So Scary-a-thon started, but I just didn't have time. Hopefully this will give you some last minute recommendations if you need a couple more for next week. If not, all of these will be good for fall and Halloween as well. If you're not familiar with dark academia, this is more of an aesthetic than it is a genre, although I feel like it's becoming a genre now that it's gained popularity. So dark academia is usually books that are set at school, set in the beginning of school at the fall time, a lot of times set at very prestigious schools like Oxford and Yale, or at boarding schools. They have an element of like an advanced education. A lot of times we have a character entering that got a scholarship, so they're not growing up like privileged enough to just go to the school, but they kind of will like win acceptance into the school and get like accepted into this weird world. A lot of times there's a secret society, there's some kind of like darker element, sometimes there's magic. Think like Dead Poets Society kind of vibes. Some of these may or may not be dark academia to you, but they are to me, so I'm gonna share some of the ones that I've read and really enjoyed. Okay, we're gonna start off with Jane Steele by Lindsay Fay. I read this one last Halloween/fall. This is actually a Jane Eyre retelling, and Jane Eyre is like a serial killer murderer. This is an adult book, and in this one, a sensitive orphan, Jane Steele, suffers first at the hands of her spiteful aunt and her predatory cousin, and then at a grim school where she fights for her very life until she escapes to London, leaving the corpses of her tormentors behind. After years of hiding from the law while penning macabre last confessions of the recently hanged, Jane thrills at discovering an advertisement. Her aunt has died and her childhood home has a new master, Mr. Charles Thornfield, who seeks a governess for the 9-year-old ward. The Jane Eyre retelling portion I feel like does not come in until about halfway, but the beginning portion, there is like a school element where she's like going to school and making friends. There's like a not great professor. We get the Jane Eyre element towards the second portion of the books. A little bit less dark academia. There are a few trigger warnings in here, so definitely look them up. Overall, a great read for fall. I feel like it was done really, really well, and I highly recommend. Complete opposite spectrum, we have, I think, what is a middle grade, and this is Ghost Girl by Tanya Hurley. This book is so cool. It's the main reason I picked it up. It's just because it's got this cool clear cover, and then we've got some silver sprayed edges, and this is just like the normal book. It has beautiful like chapters, and there are some pictures in here. Really, really cool. So in this one, our main character Charlotte feels really invisible at school, and it does not help matters when she winds up dead and having to be a ghost and like still going to school. This is very heartfelt and talks about the lengths that some people will go to be seen. It's got like spooky fun vibes, and it was really, really sweet. I believe this is part of a series as well, and the books are beautiful. Next we have Those We Drown. This is a new release for 2023. I read actually for Mermaid Marathon because of the octopus tentacles and things. It was giving me like possible mermaid vibes. Not technically a mermaid book. So in this one, it's very unique. It is set at like a prestigious like 2-week educational school on a cruise ship. Our main character gets a scholarship to participate with this, and she's on this ship with all of these other like privileged influencer rich kids, and having to kind of mix in and make friends and just figure out like her status. But also this ship is kind of strange, and weird things kind of start happening, and she kind of has to start uncovering a mystery. The vibes of this one are great. It's like spooky and fun. I really fell in love with the characters, and I thought it was a blast. I did not love the ending overall. I didn't hate it, but I felt like it left it a little bit open-ended and kind of rushed the ending. Kind of keep that in mind, but the vibes are there. We've got a different take on dark academia because it's on a cruise ship, and it would be one worth checking out. Next we have Strange Sweet Song by Ari Rule. This one's more of like your classic dark academia. I absolutely love this book so much. So in this one, outside Dumhand Conservatory there lies a dark forest, and in the forest they say lives a great beast called the Felix. But Sing de Novelli never put much faith in rumors and myths surrounding the school. Music flows in her blood, and she is there to sing. The prestigious academy will finally give her the chance to prove her worth, and not only as the daughter of a world-renowned musician, but as an artist and leading lady in her own right. But despite her best efforts, there seems to be something missing from her voice. Her doubts about her own talent increase when she is cast as the understudy in the school's production of her favorite opera, Angelique. Angelique was written at Dumhand, and the legend says that the composer was inspired by the forest surrounding the school. a place steeped in history and magic and danger. But was it all a figment of his imagination, or are the fantastic figures in the opera more than imaginary? So that's just a loose description, honestly, and it is so good. It has a lot to do with opera and singing. There's a romance in here. This is a YA book, and it's just so lovely. It was told in such a lovely, magical, enchanting way, and it's one that I highly recommend. Next, we have Immortal by Gillian Shields. This is one that I feel like I've recommended a decent amount of time. This is like an old school YA quartet, but I particularly love this first book. So in this book, we're set in modern times, but the school that our character is going to is a boarding school. They don't let you have a phone or any kind of technology, and it's very like old-fashioned, so it gives you like those gothic, dark vibes about it. When our main character gets there, she starts to uncover all of these mysteries about the school, and there's dark things and elements happening. This has witchy vibes in it. It's got a lot of other dark, like spooky type elements, but it's not scary at all. I actually physically read this one in a day because it was just such a quick, fun, fast read. I enjoyed the other books in the series, but this one was my favorite and I highly recommend. Next, we have Fallen by Lauren Kate, and this is one that I kind of always want to reread. Another old school young adult book, think around like the Twilight era, so we're getting those kinds of vibes. So there's something achingly familiar about Daniel Grigori. Mysterious and aloof, he captures Luce Price's attention from the moment she sees him on her first day at Sword and Cross boarding school in sultry Savannah, Georgia. He's the one bright spot in a place where cell phones are forbidden. The other students are all screw-ups, and a security camera watches their every move. Even though Daniel wants nothing to do with Luce and goes out of his way to make this very clear, she can't let it go. Drawn to him like a moth to a flame, she has to find out what Daniel is so desperate to keep secret, even if it kills her. So this one just has like a little bit of Twilight vibes, but it's got a unique twist to it. The boarding school and the kids being all kind of like rough around the edges make it really good for the fall time. Again, not a scary one, but it has kind of those good dark academia vibes. I actually enjoyed the movie to this one, even though it's like kind of cheesy and ridiculous. I still found it kind of fun. And this series is just like really unique as you continue to read. Things and plots and everything change quite a bit, and I feel like it's one that's kind of underrated. Even though it takes itself a little bit too seriously sometimes, I really enjoyed it, and it's one that I kind of want to reread. Then lastly for now, we have A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallero. So the last thing Jamie Watson wants is a rugby scholarship to Sherringford, a Connecticut prep school just an hour away from his estranged father. But that's not the only complication. Sherringford is also home to Charlotte Holmes, the famous detective's great-great-great-granddaughter, who has inherited not only Sherlock's genius, but also his volatile temperament. From everything Jamie has heard about Charlotte, it seems safer to admire her from afar. So we have a loose, like, Sherlock retelling, but Sherlock is a girl, and it's got a nice little romance. We've got murder mysteries, we've got those dark academia vibes, and I really, really enjoyed this one. Okay, you guys, that is all that I want to talk about for now. I may do another version of this sometime soon. Let me know your favorite dark academia book down below in the comments. I have a huge list of ones that I want to read, a few that I'm going to read this year that I'm very excited about. I will link all of the fall Halloween recommendation videos down below as well in case you want to check them out. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time on The Bright Side.